Well, speaking of music and latest project, have y'all two been working on anything recently or getting inspiration towards a project?
A lot of inspiration. I've worked with some local homies. Really just trying to work with a bunch of people, bro. Anybody who I've either came in contact with, linked up with. I'm just trying to either get beats. Recently, I got a homie. His name's Flint Withers. He sent me a project he was working on, and I got a little something on there. But other than that, man, I've just been working with a bunch of people. That's not you, bro.
Oh, I struggle every day with critiquing, being a harsh critic of myself.
Understandable.
So, but I'm constantly working on stuff. I'm constantly moving things, changing my mind about things. But I will say that I'm closer to the end for my next project. So I'm hoping my goal for the year is completed. Once I figure out what goes where, how I want things to sound, and how I want things to be presented. I feel like there's a few things you have to kind of take into consideration, and one is kind of like knowing yourself, and then one is knowing your audience, and then I think that's a very important thing, and I think I'm trying to like stay true to myself while also giving an experience or giving like some type of captivating enjoyment, I would like to say.
Yeah. That's facts. No, it's big, and it's good when it's intentional. So I feel that.
It's art.
Yeah.
And the only way we can give our true art is if we're true to ourselves. It's what's called like being righteous in a way, not necessarily being
not religious righteous, but
being to yourself.
Right to yourself.
Right to yourself.
Yeah. 100%.
That's a critique that you know yourself, and that's what.
I mean, like if I'm on the basketball court, I was playing basketball yesterday. It's like I know I can play better, so it's like, all right, well, what we gotta do to get there?
Mm-hmm.
So I know I can do this better. So like, it's like we've got the proof of concept, and we've already mastered that proof of concept. How can we master this that we're trying to do?
I think that sometimes, yeah, it is important, and then at the same time, it's like you put together something where you're at in that state of mind at that time to kind of show, okay, at this time, this is what I was on, this is where I was at, and because you're gonna get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's ever going to just go backwards. We're always evolving. We're never the same as we were yesterday. So it's like, my thing was when it came to, like, getting over that perfection or that this isn't ready or, overthinking type shit. It was just like, fuck it. I'm going to be better in the future. But I won't know that until, like, I put this out so I can see that, okay, this was this, and now we're here. Saying you can either go back to that project or you can say this was this project I was doing. It's just, if y'all like it, you know what I'm saying, this was me at the time, because you're gonna change. So, but I feel like certain projects are good for that, and then there's certain things where you want to put some more time and effort in and kind of develop something that might be different or
I definitely understand that. Yeah. I've been constructing this since like before the release of my last mixtape, and it's all come from a concept of having people in your life and them not being there, whether it's they're not there because they may have passed, or they're not there because maybe you fell out, or maybe you just grew apart, like different type of things like that.
It's a lot of experience. You gotta go through the experiences too to put it into music.
Yeah, man, I gotta bake my cake, man. I gotta get in there and shake it up.
Kind of playing off what y'all said, how important is storytelling when y'all are creating a beat or creating a song or a whole album?
I think storytelling is important just in any aspect of life. I feel like me as a person, just me storytelling. Like, earlier we were talking, I was telling you a story about my Uber Eats. Like, I feel like storytelling is just me being able to articulate and give an entertaining take on something that may have not been that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that's very important, but I also feel like it can't be a fallacy.
Right. Okay. I feel it's definitely important, and I'm kind of learning how important it is to, you know, be a good storyteller or tell a story, you know, a certain type of way. And for me in my line of work, when it comes to like making a beat for an artist to tell a story onto, I'm more of like a curator or like a creator of an environment for somebody to tell a story in. So it's like, you know, I could tell a story just, you know, in my bedroom or something like that, or like, you know, you could be out in the woods telling a story to a group of people. And it's like, I like that aspect of creating the environment that the story was either told in, or, you know, this person came in and had an experience in this environment and was like, oh, this reminded me of this that happened to me, so I can tell this story off of it. So I like that a lot. But in the beats, it's like putting that all together now is like, it's starting to become more conscious thinking.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say is the difference between, you know, you have the build up and movement out.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between you making beats that you just want people to listen to versus making something for someone you want to perform on?
I kind of really haven't found like, it's more of like, shit, this is what I was thinking, and it really wasn't tailored to, you know, more people listening to it or like somebody making a song to it. It's kind of just like, I thought of this, I put it out, and if somebody hears it and like, yo, I got this crazy idea for it, I kind of already have something in my mind. So usually if I know that person and I send it to them, I'll be like, yo, I hear you doing something on this. Then it's kind of been turning into that where I can send a beat to somebody, and it's like, when I get the song back, it's like, it confirms like, okay, I kind of have an idea of what this person is on. So, but I don't know if I really answered the question. But it's like, I just make what I think is cool, and I give it to somebody who I think would sound cool on it, and it either works out or it doesn't. And you make so many beats or so many, you know, projects a day, it's like, you can't really think too much about it. You just go on to the next one, you know.
So is that different from, let's say, like, what's the story behind the build-up or the movement?
The build-up was actually me making some music for a friend's podcast, and then I started getting the idea of like beat tapes, and I started looking at like sync placements and stuff like that. So I was like, damn, I can start making some music for background or, you know, stuff like that. So the build-up was kind of already like a instrumental thing. So when I just took the beats, I just put it onto this, and I was like, I'm gonna put a little project to it. These are some other beats that didn't make the pack or didn't make that podcast, and I was like, I'll just turn this into a project. And then going into the movement was more of kind of like perfecting that type of style or trying a different style of sound that I was like, I usually don't make this. I'm just gonna put this together in its own little separate project and you know, see what it does. But there were kind of also things like in my lifetime at the point, like I was getting out of my self that I've been, you know, playing sports and doing all this stuff, and I kind of got out of sports and I got out of college and stuff, and I was just like, I'm gonna start making, you know, music. So I'm kind of just building up this new phase in my life, and I want to start it from, you know, this. And then the movement was like, all right, shit's starting to move around, you're starting to move off of this. So I just felt like the movement was, you know, it just made sense to call it that. And I had like a bunch of names written up, kind of correlating to the growth of my production. And so I'm working on the next one. I just don't really know exactly how I'm gonna go about it.
Do you feel like these tapes are kind of like stamps in times of where you were at the time?
Yeah, going back to kind of like what I was saying, it was like, this is what I was on at that time, and this is what, you know, I'm just gonna keep on making these little stamps, because it's like going back into pictures. You know, you go back and look at, you know, old pictures of you as a kid and stuff like that, and you're like, oh man, like I didn't realize, you know, you haven't seen this picture, you haven't remembered this moment in time, so you're like, I think it's cool to have like a audio version of that. So that's kind of my mindset with it.
For you, Leo, your last project, Trump Wears Tommy Hilfiger. What is the story behind that one, or what were you thinking? Where were you? What's your inspirations?
So I was having a conversation about. I'm gonna sound like Jade Smith for a second. I was having a conversation about like the state of like the economy and politics, very loosely, and I for some reason we brought up the topic of Donald Trump and the things that he said to people and whatnot, what he may have done, whatever the case may be. And so it kind of got me thinking, like, this person is so offended at the things that this person said, but I know that I have made people feel this way because I've said stuff to people that could make them feel. No, I've never said, like, hey, I'm gonna grab a bitch by the pussy. I ain't never said nothing like that. But I'm saying I've probably said something that's hurt someone's feelings to where they felt like, all right, I hate this person.
Yeah.
So me knowing that, I kind of put together. Me and Donald Trump had the same birthday, so I just kind of put it together. It's putting myself as the villain face, saying Trump wears Tommy Hilfiger, or not juxtaposition, but like another double entendre would be like Trump probably does wear Tommy Hilfiger because Tommy Hilfiger, if you know the history behind it, Tommy Hilfiger is not really fond of us.
Yeah.
So
Most of us.
Is that did you get any inspiration from Hitler Wears Hermes?
Yeah, see, that's kind of where it was coming from, because it was more of like, I had music and I was pulling kind of music from the current project that I'm working on, and I just was kind of like, man, I don't feel like this really fits the scheme of the grand scheme, but this definitely fits. And I had some like songs on there that would have kind of tapped into what I feel is the villainous side, is me being an asshole to someone or me being rude to someone, which is not that bad to a degree depending on the person you're talking to.
Yeah.
But I had like, there was a song I made the day I released it. There was a song on there called "Sorrow for Tomorrow" that people weren't really looking for, but it's probably the best song on there. And I shout out Josh Sadiq, Jay Zen, and Kyoka Shiloh hopping on a few tracks. Just cooking up, and really that's a story. I wanted to drop music because that's my way of expressing, whether it's anger or sadness. That person made me mad, so I figured what better way to ease because like when I was a kid, my favorite thing to do was go play basketball. So if I was upset or something, I could play basketball. So now like music is that release for me. So
For sure.
Yeah. So I know both of you actually both like making beats and things like that. What kind of producer or beat maker do either of you kind of look at for like making your sound, or even from like a technical standpoint of being like, oh, I should start doing things like this, or like opens your, when you look at something they do, they're like, oh, I should probably start thinking about doing a beat like this or something like that?
I don't like, you hear people like they're rappers or they're like hip hop music makers and they're like, I don't listen to hip hop music, or it's not what I'm about to say, but like I take influence from song structures of different genres, and I can see like, okay, the song structure is different. If you listen to a Michael Jackson song, and I'm gonna give you guys some sauce right now. If you listen to a Michael Jackson song, he sings all of his backup vocals. If you listen to a rap track, a guy just raps one take of a whatever, and then the producer kind of, or the engineer, whoever, kind of can spruce it up, give ad-libs here, whatever. But Michael Jackson used to real life sing like if you listen to Thriller, he did all of those sounds. All of them sounds, right? Marvin Gaye, the sweet da-da-da-da-da, like he used to do all that stuff. So how can I incorporate that into the music that I love and I make? So I look to find inspiration in other music, and then I look to my producers to see like, Well, I mean, my favorite being Kanye West, but I looked at Kanye West to see, all right, what would he do? Or at this time period in his career, like when he was a starving artist, what would he have done? I like to listen to Pharrell. I feel like the new age don't really know how Pharrell had it rocking in the streets like for the longest time.
Yeah, for me.
I really like Logic's production. I don't know how other people feel about that. I feel like Madlib's really good. Justice League, I've yet to hear a bad one from Justice League. I like listening to anything that would give me inspiration, and that's when like I'm talking to people about music, and they're like, "Well, you wouldn't really like what I listen to." I'm like, just let me listen to it. Let me listen to it first.
Facts.
So I feel like I can, as far as production, I want to hear something, and I'm like, man, I wonder how they got this to sound like that.
I feel like I'm the same way. Like, I grew up, I was raised off of like reggae music, but my dad was a big like audiophile. He always had the big sound system, like records on records, tapes on tapes. So I was exposed to a bunch of different music as a kid. When I started getting into producing, I was just looking at whoever was doing it, and like I listened to a bunch of different type of music. Like I have phases. So like when my tag goes like Kevin, what you want? It's kind of like it's like a play on me because it's like I'm always on some different shit. Like if you look at my SoundCloud or any of my playlists, any of my like apps with my music, if I put my shit on shuffle, like I don't sit in the car with anybody else and put my shit on shuffle because I'm gonna be skipping because they're gonna be like, the fuck. But for me, just driving around, I can go from the hardest, weirdest gangster rap or some other shit underground to some fucking Pink Pantherist or some weird shit, and it's like I just like listening to just different shit, different sounds, mixes of stuff, and when it goes into my production, like I started off making beats, I was watching like Zaytoven cook-ups, and I'm just like, damn, I love how he can just play the keys, put the drums on it, and then he's like 5 minutes done. I'm like, damn, I fuck with that. And then I'm looking at, I'm listening to Jay-Z and Just Blaze, and I'm listening to drums 'cause I used to play drums when I was a kid, and I was in band and stuff, so I used to go home and play drums to like Jay-Z. But anything, bro, like if the only thing I really didn't fuck with was country music. And that's and now I'm kind of getting open to it because there's a lot of shit that I'm like, all right, this is...
Well, like, alternative country right now is in a very interesting place. Like, Orville Peck and, like, Maggie Rogers are really, like, changing the game, but a lot of country people don't even consider them country. They're not. Like, they're not even considered country.
Are you talking about the shit that's, like, trap country?
No. Like, so, Orville Peck does, like, alternative country. He's, like, the guy that wears it, like, mask that, like, dangles down a bunch. And then, like, Maggie Rogers is, I would say, is more considered a pop artist, but she, like, did a country album that, like, won album of the year one year, you know? And I think those two people are very interesting within that context. I don't like country, personally. Like, modern country's not good. There's no nuance to it. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I grew up on bluegrass because, like, my grandfather plays the fiddle and stuff like that, and the banjo. So, like, that to me is, like, very nuanced and very different, you know? So countries are, like, such a weird thing because old school ones, it's, like, there was, like, actual, like, stories being told. There was, like, actual, like, things, different sounds. Like, people were trying to do things different than another person.
I think that's just music in general. There's a lot of more, experimentation and a lot more time spent on how can we make this, because you can't really just listen to a bunch of music. Like, I can go on my phone right now and have every single song at my fingertips, whether it's YouTube or whatever. Right. And that can be anybody. When you're looking at an artist or something, you have so much influences that it's like, damn, you either completely sound off the market, or like you're tailoring to this sound because you want to sound something like this, and then you kind of learn your way of doing it. So I mean, I feel that I think it's
I for one think that there are some country slappers out there. Kenny Rogers, I'm telling you that.
Well, yeah.
So Kenny Rogers, you got no one to hold him. No.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I consider like old schoolish, not the mainstream country.
What about Chris Stapleton? So you don't like smooth as Tennessee whiskey?
That's it. And then I'm just like a guy like, I'm like, I don't fuck with mainstream shit all the time.
Yeah.
Listen to it, but like, if you put me on some country shit that like, yo, nobody's heard of, I'm gonna listen to it and be like, okay. And my first thing is always the beat. That's just what I hear now.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember lyrics. Like, people listen to a song and they're like, oh, I can recite the lyrics to this song.
See, I can't. I have
I gotta-
dyslexia. I don't even know the lyrics when I
Yeah, like I gotta replay a song like 40 times, and I gotta literally like study it like I study a book, and I don't even study books like that.
Well,
Like,
I'll tell you this. I mean, if you listen to the song, it sets a scene, and
That's-
for me, that's
Yeah.
like, for me, like, it just kind of caught me, cause I'm the type of person that's like, all right, I probably am not gonna get a kick out of this. It's probably not gonna be.
but there's
cool
that
to me,
moment in that song.
But I hit play, and then it's like, dum dum dum. So then, like, I'm like in a Western bar, sitting at a fucking bar. This dude's drinking his life away,
Yeah.
and he's telling me a story about how he lost someone he loved, probably.
Yeah.
So then it's like, it goes back to the origins of music. Like, what was music? Music was songs, like poems.
Yeah.
And poems, like what? There's different ways to write poems and set scenes and, establish motifs and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think I can appreciate stuff for what it is.
No, I agree. And back to your point about like not the mainstream things, I think any genre, the alternative like version of that genre, like with like the alt like country, alt R&B, alt rap, alt like whatever it is, I think there's so much growth and good production being done there that people just don't like pay attention to like ever.
Because that's kind of like we were saying with the old school music when they were literally just in the studio trying to make some different shit.
Right.
That's what the alternative shit is now, because the mainstream shit is so flooded in the same exact sound.
I feel like now we're at a place where like people aren't afraid just to make music. Like it's
Yeah.
more like purely just expression of what they're feeling and their
Yeah.
emotions. That's why that's like the whole 2016 SoundCloud era.
Yeah.
A lot of that was like they want to be rock stars, but they're black and they're supposed to be rappers. So now they combined the two, and now it's like y'all not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
That's somebody else's job.
I feel it's also like just kind of the evolution of the genre of whatever music it is.
Mhm.
I mean, if you think about the 60s, rock sounded completely different from what rock is now, until you get to the 90s, to where you get to the punk and then the alternative. And so now you have rap, which is a genre, it's in its infancy. And so we're seeing it evolve in real time with these different subgenres.
Mhm.
Yeah. I fully agree.
And there's so many subgenres of everything, so it's just you can dive into one subgenre of a subgenre and it's like, holy shit. So I don't know. I just love that exploration of music and just hearing different sounds and how people mix it up. So being able to do that is just like, it's a cool thing, because you're just like, this is my spin on whatever I heard, whatever mixture of shit coming in, because everything is like, no idea I think is original. We're all just getting the same ideas out of the ether, bro.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you heard that subconsciously, you might have heard something 10 years back, and this came up, and you might not even know it, but like, oh, I drew these hi-hat patterns in because I heard this beat or this song kind of have this jump, and letting that free like network of thought just going into your computer or whatever you cook, like your instrument or whatever it is, like no thought of it, just like that's like that subconscious, clicking away or strumming, or that's like what I like about it. It's the full expression of it,
Right.
So.
And I actually, there's a kind of funny story. I haven't even told you this story yet, but to the whole like ether thing, it's so crazy how like that happens even like in non-direct ways. So I was like a couple years ago. I don't know if any of y'all really listen to like JPEG Mafia like that.
I've heard of it.
When he dropped All My Heroes Are Cornballs and like all the song titles like something like type beat, me and my roommate love JPEG Mafia, listen to his stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My roommate likes just making music for himself, not to release, just like as like a casual passion type thing.
Yeah.
And so we were making like jokes about like some type beats. Again, recently with our friend, we just got bored one day and we went to Omega at 3 a.m. It was just nothing but, this is gonna be some OD stuff, but like some dudes just like jerking off. And so we're making jokes about like, you know, JPEG Mafia Towels, and we're like, what if there was one called 3 a.m. Omega type beat? And so he made like a beat that was just got like him just going like that. Here's the thing, flash forward now, JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown have a new album together.
Yeah.
And there's a song on it that literally the beat is just before they start going into it. And when I first heard it, I was like, this is some wild ass shit that I'm hearing right now.
Yeah, it's like a deja vu shit. Where
Yeah.
like,
I was like, this kid, like, I don't even think my roomie even released it on SoundCloud or anything, but for like us to think about this guy's music, make something like that, and then for him to do something similar to that on his own way is just, it's so wild to me to even like think about.
Yeah. It's like always, you might think of an adventure or some shit, and then you're like, oh, I see it on TV. You saw it on TV, and you're like, fuck, I thought of that shit. I could have been fucking rich, but it's like somebody grabbed that shit and they just took a different action to it.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, it speaks to a lot of ideas. I saw one thing. It's like, if you come up with an idea, go ahead and do it. Because by the time somebody else does it, it's just time for that idea. And if you would have started already, you would have been the one on top.
Yeah, that's why I be pissed. Like I got hella ideas, and I'm like, fuck, like I gotta get on this shit, and it's like when it just passes, it's like, damn, it might have not been for you. It's like somebody might be in that position to act on it, you know, better. It's like,
I feel like sometimes I get so many ideas that I just end up not doing any of them.
Yeah,
oh my God, yeah.
I do. I that's my thing. I have so much shit that I'm like, oh, I need all these different things, and it's like you get too much stuff and you become stagnant, or you just don't do anything with all these things that you have. So it's like my thing these past couple of years has just been like minimalize. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't need a billion sound kits to make a beat. It's like you only choose sounds from this one pack. So it's like, all right, might as well see what you can do with this one pack. And then once you've used all this shit to where you're like, all right, I feel like I need some new sounds for real, then go get like something else and take from that. But
what kind of like goals do you have like set up for like with your music? How far do you want to go, and you know what the next steps are for where do you want to go with it?
I just want to live off this stuff, man. Like, and just kind of just do me. I'm so into different things. So like having, you know, music just be one of the things that I do. It's like, if I can make this, you know, one of the things that I, you know, do and put my art out, and then if it can bring other opportunities in to then expand on other things. Because I know music, you know, music just touches everybody across the world. So if like I could just make some cool shit that people in another country can vibe with, or my friends can vibe with, like that's cool. And then it's like I can take that, because people know me from these things, I can start adding these other ideas or collaborate with other people that maybe, you know, are working on something, and just create dope shit. Like that's my only thing. Just create dope shit, and then it's like helping people with whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So
I'd say I want to be able to have as much impact on people as the people I've looked up to as far as like making music. I want to be able to like give someone that feeling of like, damn, like I feel like I could beat the '96 Bulls or the 2017 Warriors, I think. Yeah, 2017 Warriors. I just feel like me as a kid, like I always grew up beatboxing, trying to like do something with music, and I feel like now I want to be able to give other people that feeling, like this is how like Tyler the Creator or Kanye West made me feel, and that's what connected me to his music.
Just want to continue the cycle of music, because that's you know, that's like we talked about earlier, just songs like had meanings to it, and we played the first song ever made in human history. Someone heard that, like, oh, I could do this, and I feel like that just always is the cycle of music, us just creating something to leave an impact on someone else, to want to create something else in a different way to leave a different impact. And I think it's like one of the best parts of music.
Cause this AI shit getting out of hand, bro. Yeah. This AI shit getting out of hand, bro.
It's getting crazy. I don't really like, I haven't paid attention to it too much, but I'm like, damn, this is the future.
My friend sent me an AI song, Juice WRLD featuring, I think it's Juice WRLD featuring XXXTentacion.
I know what it's talking about.
I'm like, bro, these two people
I don't even be listening to them anymore.
These two people are dead, and y'all are copying
Like,
their
this one-
voices, emulating their voices to make money off of it.
My thing is, like, I already feel some type of way about them dropping, like,
Right, posthumous
albums and songs, right? But now, this is going so much farther to where, like, they dead, and you're not even using their shit. You just emulating their voice. And I'm like, there's no soul behind that music. And I'm like, that's what music is. It's expression, but when you do AI, that expression's gone. But speaking on AI, I saw something where it's like, you know, them congressmen or like older people that don't know how to send emails and stuff. They're saying like, if you don't learn how to use this AI shit now, that's how you're gonna look in like 10, 15 years.
Yeah, like learning how to manage AI is like the new coding. You know, like back when coding was first thing, I was like, you got to get into coding. If you do, you'll be great. But now it's like understanding AI.
So it's like
I think we should all understand it though.
Right.
I haven't even got into it. I'm looking at it and like it's like now becoming. I'm seeing people posting like AR art, and I'm like, damn, like it's that easy to start getting into it. And I think before it becomes a thing where it turns to the worst, because AI can definitely like.
Yeah.
Like I saw the one dude from Google or something, like the guy who like had a hand in creating AI to what it is now.
ChatGPT, the Congress, he was like, we need more regulations. He's like, yes, I agree. And he was just agreeing with everything Congress is saying. And they was like, can we hire you to help us fix this? He was like, what? No. It's like, isn't that your job? But like, they don't know anything about it, and they're over here trying to grill him. But he was agreeing with everything they were saying. It's like, yeah, I think it's super dangerous and it has the potential to ruin a bunch of stuff for people.
Yeah, it's like we have so many movies and shit on that stuff. It's like we're gonna if we don't understand it. My thing is like I think everybody just needs the general knowledge of all these things because as a human race, like we can do so much shit, but we're so focused on little bullshit that is distracting. Like just little drama shit that we could really push away and start focus on things that can solve these problems. Like I don't know. I just want to. My ass want to go to space and fucking see different planets and shit, but we can't fucking figure out how to get to there until we take care of all this other little bullshit on our planet. And
it's interesting because like at the start of the whole AI thing, they pulled images from Google, so literally some of the results would be people's actual artwork. Mm-hmm. The people that do that, realistic style that AI started with and was doing it the most, they post their art and they get kicked off the Reddit. They've been posting for years saying, this is AI artwork. We don't fuck with AI artwork. And it's like, no, I spent 10 hours doing this shit and I have a video showing it. It's like, well, if you were a better artist, it wouldn't look like AI. And a week ago, they were like the top artists. But then I see something else from a clothing brand using Midjourney, which is like the big one everybody's using now. Mm-hmm. He designed a clown and he made a t-shirt. And the people were saying like AI generated. It's like you didn't put any work. He was like, I'm the one that knows how to put in the information into this system to get this result. And then I took that image into Photoshop and made it into a shirt. So you saying I didn't do any work to do that?
So now it seems like everybody needs to have their own like video of them cooking up whatever it is that they did.
Right,
like everybody has to make content of that shit.
There are like artists that their job like to off commissions, and now they have to post like every stage of their work in progress to prove that they even made the art themselves.
Like you look at my Instagram. The last 2 reels I posted are what? Time lapses of me actually doing the shit. Because I'm like, nah, this is me. Not like, today, I didn't get credit. And it's like, and especially because the way I draw, like, the style people ask for isn't necessarily the things I draw all the time, right? So it's like, you may see an art, but if you don't know it's me, because I don't have a similar art style. So I got to post it on my page, post a video of me doing it now. And it's like, that shit, as an artist, I got to think about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I made this shit, and I'm like, I gotta show the whole entire process, which I try to do anyways, but now it's more important because it's like, oh, you just took some random shit from the internet. Yeah. Like, you didn't put no work into it. There's no creativity. And like I was saying with the music, like, the soul of things are gonna be taken away if we put too much into AI. But if it's like what he did, to where he took a prompt and totally recreated it. He created a whole atmosphere around the clown he designed. Like, he didn't just slap the clown on the shirt. He made it like Krusty's Parade or some shit. He made a fake number on the back. He distressed the shirt. He did this. He made the mock-up. So now it's like, yeah, AI got the image, but the ideas behind it were his. He just didn't spend time drawing it. But
yeah, it's up to us to put the soul into it because AI can't really. I mean, I guess it can do all this stuff by itself, but it still needs that person to put the prompt in, and that's where we'll still need to be here. But
it was interesting. But like, it's not like something like this hasn't happened before. Like when technology advances, people are going to lose jobs. Things are going to happen. Things are going to change.
Yep.
We're just in another stage like that. But with the internet and with like yellow journalism and all this stuff, anything new is now scary and you should be afraid of it so you don't learn about it so that people can take advantage of you from it.
I do think copyright laws should have some changes reflecting AI.
But like all that stuff, it just takes time. And it's like, it's not going to change the world tomorrow.
Yeah. It should just kind of bump up the standard though, because like at this point now, nobody should be like unknowing of shit. Shouldn't be any like poor people, unless it's by choice, which some people could say, you know, some people are homeless by choice. Some people live on the street by choice. So that's one of those things where it's like you have a choice to do this, or you have a choice to do this. But like when you have people in poverty and shit like that, it's like there shouldn't be any excuse to why nobody on the world can drink clean water.
Yeah.
Nobody can eat like food. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what, you know, they're giving us fake food over here, but it's like, what if we can use AI to make sure that the food we're eating is good? But
yeah, I was talking to Will about it because we're both, three of us are teachers, and we were talking about just like how things in Florida have been run and how like it's obviously all about control. Because like it was sad because the whole book thing in our library, we have like a book like where she's giving it away to the kids or the teachers can take them because they can't stay in the library because of new laws. There was 3 big ass boxes. There was more books in those boxes than were left in the library. And to me, that was just the saddest thing. Because I remember as a kid going to the library and buying books on just random science. Like, I'm going to learn about insects just because I can. I can check this book out for 2 weeks, look at these cool pictures. I can learn about space. So now it's like, you take all that away and now you're only feeding kids certain information. And it's like, you take away creativity, you take away learning, you take away expression. And they're trying to take away curiosity to then turn everybody into robots.
Yep. That's where it's going.
But I mean, I feel like even with all their efforts, you can't really take the souls out of kids because, like, the way they grow up, the way they are, no matter what, they're still their own person. Even if they're led a certain way, eventually they're going to break out and become their own people.
And they're always going to find ways to express themselves, like, constantly.
There's always going to be a group of people that wake up from the shit because the whole society is just trying to put people to sleep and just get them to this certain life.
Go to your 9 to 5, work, go back home, consume product.
But now it's a popular thing. Like, I mean, now it's more common than ever to, like, you know, financial freedoms all over the place and all these different type of things. So, I mean, that information got to get to the kids. Like, it's people now, like, our age, we're doing this shit. Like, we're trying to...
Yeah, I'm looking at my job like, okay, I need money to live, so I'm going to work it, but I'm going to work my ass off. And I'll sacrifice sleep, I'll sacrifice health to make sure I'm not living the way they want me to. I'm living on my terms.
Right. And I think a lot of kids in that generation too, like, they don't give a fuck. They want to do that. Like,
that's something I'm learning. Like, when a kid's bad, doesn't do nothing, I'm like, all the other teachers be on them, or a lot of the teachers, and I'll ask them, like, okay, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, what do you really want to do? Like, one kid paying every teacher's boy. I don't have him, so I never interact with him. But then I go to one of the after-school events, a band concert. He's over here playing the drum set, going crazy. Now I'm like, that's it.
That's what you are. Yeah.
That's it. And I'm like, none of the other teachers that talk about this kid being a pain, he shouldn't be in the school, he does nothing. They're not coming to the concerts because they don't give a fuck about the kids at the end of the day. Yeah, but when I saw that, I'm like, these kids have talents. And it may not cater to the traditional school. That man, like, if you have him, if he could frame classes in music terms, he'll probably be one of the best students.
Yeah, he won the award, didn't he not?
Yeah, and he won an award too. The kid that they're saying is worthless, won't do nothing, is winning an award for an event they'll never even think about to show up to.
Right. It's crazy. Because I have a similar situation where there's this one boy who, granted, you know, is a little immature. He's a middle school boy. He doesn't get along with a lot of teachers and stuff. But man, is he a talented artist. Like, when you sit and talk to him about his art and stuff, he's so talented. And, you know, him and his friend also, like, are very interested in art. And they're starting to get more into, like, graffiti and stuff like that, graffiti art and things like that. And they'll, like, draw on their friends, like, their arm stuff. But lately around school, we've had, like, someone, like, drawing on the walls and stuff. And every teacher's like, oh, it's those 2 boys. They mess around. They do this. They already drew it on their friends. I pulled them aside, like, hey, guys, are you guys actually doing that? They're like, no, why would we do them? Like, I know it's not y'all, but, like, if you need to figure out who it is, do it. And then I'll actually talk to them, like, hey, where are you guys actually going to be, like, graffitiing at and stuff? Like, they're like, don't do, like, businesses, try to, like, find old abandoned buildings, you know,
give them an
right.
environment.
I'm like, you could always go to
do
graffiti,
shit.
bitch, and like cops never gonna harass you for doing that ever, you know, like. I encourage them to do their art because like they're talented at it. Like you should have saw. I'm so tight that I didn't get to take a picture of it. He came in my classroom and like he always is in there like talking about stuff, and he like drew like some of his graffiti art on my like whiteboard, and like that shit was impressive.
How old are these kids that you guys are?
Middle school.
13 to 16.
Like 13, yeah.
So
So
like
that age too, when they're like, I know that was the age for me where I was like, you're kind of more influenced because high school's coming up, college, you gotta start thinking about what the fuck you about to do.
I was about to say,
That's,
I
like,
didn't
really-
discover like who I really wanted to be and who I was so about my freshman year, where it was at the end of the year, one of my female friends signed my yearbook and she was like, "What do you do other than basketball?" And I was like, "Damn, I don't do anything." I started thinking, I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? So then that's when I really like, all right, I'm not worried about being popular, because that same year I realized like being popular ain't shit. Like these people are hollow, they stab each other in the back, and I saw it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be part of that.
Yeah.
And then I joined the fucking yearbook. I changed the whole shit, made it like everything was just better, and it was like things that were seen as uncool. But when I started doing it, everybody started gravitating toward it, started changing the perspective of it, and I was like,
I swear, bro.
sometimes you just can't be afraid to be different.
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
That's a huge thing. Like when I was a kid, like you didn't see, like I used to skate, and you didn't see black kids skating like that.
Mhm.
So I felt always kind of like an outsider. And I remember my dad, this was around like middle school time, my dad was like, you know, is this skateboarding shit gonna get you to college? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. Probably not. So, and that's the thing, like, you gotta go to college. That was just like standard. Nothing else in my mind was thinking like, well, you don't have to go to college, you can do other shit. But that was my thing, like, I gotta get to college. So I dropped this shit, which I really loved. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm about damn near 6 foot in fucking elementary school, so I might start picking up a ball of some sort and use my athleticism and start getting into, you know, that stuff. So I kind of did this switch, and then when I like graduated, I stopped, you know, the football stuff, and it was just like I got this feeling like I'm still I just picked up everything like I left back, like it's what I really want to do, or like what I really love, because it's always on my mind. I'm always thinking about it. So it's like for kids to just be, you know, told this is what you got to do and all this shit, like I just think you need to put them in that environment where they can actually explore what they are thinking, what they want to do. Like you said, your boy, like the kid like graffiti, like if he had a spot, like if there was one room that just wasn't being used in that school, where it was just like, all right, fuck it, just put up some white walls and let these kids fucking just draw and do all their bullshit.
So do you know what I do for my class? I tell any kid they have art they or like drawing, give it to me, I'll hang it up in my classroom. And I have seen some of the most impressive things ever from. So I even have some in my car pocket. I can come out here and show you because I have it also in my car. But like, I had a kid. I had multiple students that like in like 10 minutes they draw me something. I look at them like, how can you do this in 10 minutes and you're a 6th grader?
Yeah.
Like you're full-time freelance, I can't even draw a fucking eye right.
Right. And I have kids like understanding the contours of shading of the human body in a way you think it's like a real adult doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And like I'll like, yeah, I instantly get like my staple thing, I hang it up in there, and they look and they see that.
Yeah.
And they want to give me more things to hang up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because it makes an impact. I teach semester classes, and like even that like one student who like I was very impressed by, they was always come out of my classroom and just talk to me, you know, and like I would ask them about their art, and they'd always like give me things to hang up still, you know, even though I don't have them in my classroom, they don't even see me hanging up, they just see that like I see them as who they are, and I want them to continue to do things, you know, because like I technically teach business ed / computers. My first year speech is, I don't care what y'all want to do, fully do it, 100%. Just go out there and do it. Like, don't think anyone's gonna tell you like you can't do this or can't do that. That's been proven wrong in today's society for our age. Like, if you have a dream, go out and do it. Like, be yourself.
I think that's one thing I'm excited too about like our generation coming in and teaching the next generation is like we're the one generation that's like we're really not brainwashed as much. Not saying like, you know, but our parents, they had to build a certain life for us because that's just what it was at the time. So it's like that's all they knew. What we know is a lot of different shit. So it's like we're gonna tell the kids to explore that shit. The feeling that you have, we had that same feeling in our, in our ear, we're telling, we're told this, but we're gonna tell you to explore it, but don't, obviously, don't be crazy or don't be, stupid.
Right.
I think a great quote from not a great man, John Adams. It says, "I must study politics and war that my sons have the liberty to study mathematics and philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
My sons ought to study mathematics and philosophy, geography, natural history, and architecture, all this stuff in order for their children to be able to study painting, poetry, and music." I feel like throughout our generation, the war came, and then we did all these things, but now our generation, who's supposed to be able to study painting, poetry, art, and really build the culture of America, is now being told, no, go back and work so we can make more money at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And it all comes back to like just power and control. Like, we're not, like, think about it. Like, how many times have we been told, like, you can't do this, you can't do that?
So many.
So what do? We're in the generation of like, we're rebelling against so much shit. You see so many like uprising the bus saying like, hey, the way you're running shit sucks.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're gonna do something about it, or we're gonna speak up about it. And now we're teaching the next generation like, hey, don't stand for the shit you don't believe in.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing the results. So I'm curious to see what happens, because like, I feel like the generations above us want to hold on to that control so much.
Which is so ridiculous, because like, to me it's like, if there's something you like doing, like something that like consumes your life in every like aspect, why can't you be able to live off that? I'm not even saying like be rich or this or that, but just to live really comfortably, to exist in this world in the most baseline comfortable way, while also making that living off something that just consumes you.
Right. And I think if we can take the AI to do the shit that, okay, you see people who are working like, McDonald's and shit, they just look soulless. You see them?
Right.
Give the AI those soulless fucking jobs and let us do the soulful shit. That's what I'm hoping that this is. But it can be dangerous. You know what I'm saying? It can be used to say, well, let's just do the shit that we don't want to do so we can do the stuff we want to do.
Because it's like, how many articles you see saying our generation is lazy?
Well,
it's lazy. We're not lazy. We just don't want to do things that we know is bullshit.
Yeah.
I actually saw someone like kind of point out the BS in that. It's like at every point in history, the upper class people are always like, the lower class people don't want to work. Like he literally like pointed out almost every like an article for like in every different time period of them just like saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and it's so wild too, because like they're not working as much as we are, especially now in today's age. Like, I feel like a lot of kids are wanting to shoot for the stars or things because they realize, I don't want to fucking work my ass off and it's something I hate to where I can barely live, Like, if you don't graduate from high school or get your GED, you're screwed. Mm-hmm. Even if you get your college degree, you still screwed.
Still screwed. You told me to go do this 4 years of college, and I'm still working the same job I could have done if I didn't even pass high school.
Literally, it's ridiculous. And then they're like, I know some people my age who don't have those ambitions because they didn't find any opportunities in high school that really wanted to motivate them to want to go to college or some sort of degree. Mm-hmm. They're just working a fast food job.
Yeah. And
they're just trying to work that just to pay bills and to live, and they don't have the opportunity to try to figure out what they want to do to live, and I think that's messed up. I think that's so fucked. And then for the upper class people be like, these Gen Zers, they don't want to work. Who fucking does?
Yeah, nobody does. That's why the upper class did what they did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, there's still like a false stigma of like, okay, the upper class, they're just, like, even the richest people, they're not working as much, but the work that they put in to get there, yes, you can sit there and kind of kick your feet back because you put these things in place, your seeds over here to grow. Mm-hmm. Nobody, the average person doesn't have seeds planted that are growing.
We don't even get access to the seeds.
You don't even get exactly.
There's no seeds for us. We don't even have a chance to go to the Home Depot to buy the seeds.
Exactly. So it's like, you give everybody a chance to then plant their own seeds, whether it's a little ass tree or somebody else, big ass trees. That's the thing. It's like, you either have a little ass tomato plant or you got a big ass fucking oak tree. It's like, all right, cut it down to where everybody has this right here at least.
It's kind of like the whole the rose that grew from concrete.
The what?
The rose that grew from concrete. it's like we don't have any gardens.
Yeah.
But one seed that was planted by somebody who knows what sprouted through what shouldn't have grown.
Right.
That's what I like so much about, like, I see kids in the worst possible situations, but they still come out on top somehow because in their mind it's like it's what they lived through. But despite all that they had to deal with, they still have the ambitions and stuff to be like, I still want to live and do something.
You still kind of need that shit, bro. I mean, we don't evolve without trauma, without the stress.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. Like, that rose probably wouldn't have grown as beautiful as it is if it didn't pop through all that concrete and shit. Like, that just made that rose even more stronger. You feel me? So it's like, you need to go through that shit. And sometimes people they're putting the fear to say, like, you don't want to go through that.
That is like the duality of like bringing life into this world, you know, like because there's I forget the actual official name. It's like the philosophical concept of like not wanting to bring life into the world because it will go through pain and suffering. You know, you can't understand. Like you can't just like have a kid, you raise it and be like, hey, you shouldn't do this. You should really be this way, like to be a good person, right? You can't just like tell them that and they're like, cool, I got it. I can just go do that. A lot of times you gotta learn that, like you gotta learn like what it's like to be hurt by somebody, so you know to never hurt somebody in that way, you know, and that is one of the sad, you know, aspects of life is that like we have to go through things that causes pain and suffering to understand what pain and suffering is, you know. I was talking on an interview with someone today about like, you know, this school that someone's at, they're like, oh, we got a lot of privileged white kids who don't know they're privileged. I'm like, well, can you blame them? They're kids. They don't know what injustice really is. Mm-hmm. They don't fully understand that concept till they're adults, you know?
Yeah. So you can't really blame them.
They don't know what it's like to have injustice put their way, what it's like to be oppressed, to really feel the weight of society down on our generation. Yeah. We didn't realize that till we were getting close out of high school, or even like out of high school, we're like, fuck. This shit's ass.
Yeah, bro.
Okay, let's wrap this whole thing together with one last question for everybody. Do y'all have any quotes that you say yourself or quotes that you go by that kind of not define, well, either define who you are or define the way you do things? Like for me, my quote, saying I always say is expression of perfection, which I was talking to my friend Alex, and she was talking about how like she doesn't want to put her out her art because she feels like it's not good enough. And I'm like, the expression is more than the perfection. And then I kind of ran with that. And then a quote I kind of always live by is a quote from my dad. He said, the breakthrough point is always just a little past the breakdown point. It's where like when you get to your lowest low, if you keep going, you'll find that breakthrough.
The one I usually go by is there's kind of like two. One I always just say like, do your best every day. That's one I just say to myself every time I get up. But the one I go by is Horace Mann. It says, be ashamed to die until you've won some victory for humanity. Knowing that humanity will be good because I've lived and did what I did. And so that humanity will be good. And that one too, the one from your dad with the breakdown. That's also good. I like that.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of not really a quote, but like something kind of just say to myself. Because I have a Guts sword tattooed on me from Berserk. And I don't know if you know much about him or anything, but it's basically just this guy that just like fights against these otherworldly odds and is just struggles, and he lives just to exist, you know. And and he just like continues to swing his sword, you know. Nothing stops him from that. And you know, even like lately with like things like mental health not doing great and things like that, I just kind of like look at him like, I gotta keep swinging my sword.
Like that.
You know, I gotta keep swinging my sword.
I mean, y'all with these deep ass quotes.
Yo, I was about to say, like, my shit's about to be.
My shit is. I swear.
Y'all two over there like, man, you should let us go first.
Like, damn, bro. Like,
if you ain't first, you're
an expression over perfection because it's all about the expression.
Yo, that's what I'm
like, bro, mine is just live life like you're on a sitcom. That's my quote. That's literally my quote. Live life like you're on a sitcom. That's literally it.
True.
The laugh tracks and everything.
Man,
I thought you were gonna hit him with the where there's a will.
You know, my original OGs just live life like you're on a sitcom. I do think that you have to take things seriously, but I think you don't. And I think that there's certain ways to approach certain topics or certain I can't think of the word, situations. There's ways you're supposed to approach them, but I also feel like you have to give yourself that that relief of like I shouldn't stress this much about it. I shouldn't harp this much about it.
Yeah.
Why can't I just experience, go through, do what I have to do, and then that'd be it. Move on.
Yeah. Move on to the next episode.
So basically mine is the dumbest, dumbed down version of all of like that. It's like anytime I write in my journal or it's my initials. So anytime I write, my initials, I just write keep going. So it's basically the same shit. It's like regardless of what, you're gonna be down, you're gonna be up. That your life is like a stock market chart. Like you're just always gonna keep going regardless of what until you're not. But you just gotta keep going. So anytime I go through some shit, I'll write down an experience or something like that, however it made me feel, whatever, and it's like, all right, that happened. Keep going.